Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Maka and I guess OGS Fruit here on Steps of War. We have OGS Fruit spawning over here on the top right hand side as the red Zerg player. Meanwhile, we have Maka spawning over here on the bottom left hand side as the purple Terran player. Now, one of the questions that I've actually been getting a lot of people have asked, what does my daughter look like? So I would take this time to go ahead and just show you a quick picture of Arya. This is a picture of my daughter. She's currently 2 weeks old, and now I know I have a little bit of daddy bias, but I think she's the cutest thing in the world. Alright, gonna go ahead and head back to the game. So here we have Maka Prime. Gonna go ahead and open up with a standard 10 supply and open up with a standard 10 supply depot over here on this front door. Meanwhile, over here, OGS, I don't know what exactly his strategy is going to be. He did not go for the extractor trick. Gonna go ahead and get that overlord. Right as that overlord pops on up, should be able to produce 3 additional drones right there, so the timing on that is absolutely perfect. Followed after this whole entire 12 supply depot, most likely, or 10 supply depot, most likely going to be a 12 barracks. And what you can do with this is you can also put a tech lab down right here. What that tech lab allows you to do is complete a wall-in with only 2 buildings. One of the benefits of spawning on the south side of Steps of War. We are getting an extractor before a spawning pool. So extractor before a spawning pool most likely means that we're going to go for the metabolic boost instead of an early hatchery, and then those Zerglings may try to do some sort of a quick run by to really get into the base. We now see Maka coming in with an SCV, gonna do ahead and make sure that there is no hatchery down here. Really wants to keep track of the strategy that Fruit or the Zerg player is going for. So really gonna be able to come on in here, gonna go ahead and take a quick look around. Spawning pool is down. He quickly checks, sees that the spawning pool was a little bit delayed, so he doesn't have to worry about any Zerglings just quite yet. Maka Prime now sitting on 16 food, upgrading to an orbital command, producing 1 marine over here. Most likely going to put that tech lab down as soon as he gets enough gas, or he might try to go for an early factory. Early factory for that Hellion play. Since he did see that earlier gas, he may assume that there are going to be Hellions coming in. He does not see a Baneling nest, and nicely done. He used the extractor trick in order to get 19 over 18 food in order to train that queen up. So he was sitting at 17 over 18 food, built the extractor, started training a queen, and then canceled that drone, or canceled the extractor to get that drone back and continue harvesting. 2 Zerglings now moving back over here, and now we have a supply depot placed down. So a supply depot placed down instead of a tech lab, and based on this position, I do not think that a tech lab can actually fit there any longer. No, a tech lab will not be able to be dropped there, and 1 marine gonna be used to hold off this whole entire attack with all these Zerglings. Supply depot should be lowered. SCV should be able to just head back on in and then raise that once again. Hellions need to be trained on up. Looking to put down a tech lab first, so we may get the infernal pre-igniter laid down. A second queen now being trained up by this hatchery over here. So 2 queens before even upgrading to tier 2. I'm not even upgrading to layer yet. Now sitting on a fairly large amount of gas. As soon as that queen pops on out, we should get the upgrade to tier 2. Yeah, there it goes. And then maybe trying to go for, I assume, Mutalist. The only real reason to try to sit on this much gas is to be able to use some Mutalist harassment later. A Siege Tank now being trained up. So a Siege Tank before Hellion, and now we also have an additional scout coming in from Maka. I really like how Maka's playing. Maka's continually trying to get additional scouting information as quickly as possible. You quickly see that these Zerglings already have that metabolic boost upgrade, so the Speedling's now going to go ahead and head on in and may try to do a run by, but with all these marines and these marines sitting over here, those Zerglings will not be able to easily get on in there. We now have the queen now making its way down over here to this ramp, most likely assuming that Hellions may try to do some sort of run by. The queen wants to make sure to kind of block this ramp, and as this creep tumor is going to move on over, the queen will be able to get in position. Spine crawlers being laid down as well. I like Fruit's just a vision of the map here. He really has complete knowledge on Maka. If any air units try to come in from the north or leave from the east side, he will be able to find this and scout it out. He also sees that there is an orbital command being upgraded over here, so he knows that Maka is going to be trying to take his lower expansion sometime soon. Maka really, I think, made a mistake with this supply depot. He's gonna have to lift this off and build down a tech lab or a reactor somewhere else. Zerglings looking to try to push on through. They're not gonna really be able to make it there. Now, as the siege tech is now finished researching, so those siege tanks gonna go ahead and siege on up. Bunkers now being placed down as that orbital command gonna go ahead and lift off and try to take this natural expansion. So both players playing more of a Sim City game at this stage. And no, it is not gonna be early Aspire. It is actually gonna be an early infestation pit. As we see over here, OGS using that spawn creep ability was able to hide an infestation pit over here, and now getting the Neuroparasite ability. The Neuroparasite, that mind control ability that really counters Thors and siege tanks very, very well. We already see 2 additional barracks being lowered in. No tech lab yet, as Maka now continuing to macro up an even larger economy. Their tech lab finally being placed down, being forced to lift off and move away. So yeah, now this front door not nearly as perfect as it was before. Maka getting a little bit of an economic advantage, being able to get those 2 mules. But really, I'm curious play by OGS Fruit, not going for what am I thinking? Not going for Mutalisk, but going for an infestation pit instead. I also like the positioning on these spine crawlers. These spine crawlers, and making sure that siege tanks are not going to be able to siege up on this lower ground and then try to blast away at this hatchery. Siege tanks sitting here, and I believe right here, may have enough position to start at least blasting at some of the larva cocoons and maybe even hit that hatchery right there. So really, really decent positioning for the spine crawler. Spine crawler going to be able to start slashing away at any siege tanks before they really get within range. Maka Prime now, both players are still sitting more of an economic game. We all going into a 2-factory, 3 racks build, missile turrets being placed down. We have stim pack being researched, combat shield most likely to follow, and we should get the weapons upgrade momentarily, as Terran players really like to get that level 1 infantry upgrade against Zerg to really counteract them. Infestors, 4 infestors sitting over here, hiding off to the side. There was a Hellion that I think that was trying to do some scouting on, unable to find it. Zerglings able to easily take down that 1 Hellion there. So 4 Zerglings, only 1 of them get taken down, as these infestors now getting more mana, just waiting over here off to the side. With this many infestors, I would like to see a tech to tier 3 and also getting some Ultralisk as well, as Frenzy on Ultralisk is supposedly a very, very powerful combination, which I have yet to effectively see recently. Back over here, we have Marines and Marauders now moving out. Maka really is sitting pretty safely within his own base, mining up, just trying to macro up a very, very large army, sitting on a large amount of gas, 700 gas. I would start to assume that he would try to go for perhaps some Ravens or some Ghosts. Ghosts are generally not used too much in Terran versus Zerg, but Ghost does have that snipe ability, which works out very well against infestors. 2 snipes taking down an infestor, and also EMP removing all of this energy from them so they can't get any neuroparasites off. Secondly, the Ghost also has a damage bonus versus light, so they are able to really shoot down Mutalisk very, very easily. OGS coming in with an Overlord, however that Overlord being shooed away. Fruit really wants to be able to figure out what's happening inside Maka's base. He really has no idea what's really going on in here. Only sees 2 barracks and a factory over here. We now see a Thor now being built over here. So 2 Thors now being trained on up, most likely thinking that there's going to be some Mutalisk play, not knowing that there's also, in fact, a lot of infestors. Wow, sitting on 8 infestors with a whole bunch of energy, and now roaches being built on, or being trained up as well. Army-wise, we see Maka sitting on 2,300 versus OGS's 1975, except OGS has a stronger gas army, mainly consisting of all of these units here. And now in comes a fungal growth, slowing down all of these units here. So all of those Marines now in the low hit point range, all of them taking a fair amount of damage there. I believe 30 some odd damage. Siege tanks now moving on out, as Maka now going to go ahead and take down these destructible rocks over here to the top, or to the left hand side here. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Maka and Fruit here on Steps of War.